Imagine this. You're at a grand banquet, the table overflowing with food, gold, and treasures. But at the end of the night, as you leave, you're told you can't take anything with you, not even a crumb. Life is that banquet. We're born into this world with nothing, and when our time comes, we leave the same way. But here's the twist. What we do at the table, the connections we make, the lives we touch, and the actions we take are what define us. So let me ask you, when the banquet ends, what will you leave behind that truly matters? Welcome to Lean on Me, your gateway to timeless wisdom. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on life-changing hacks rooted in ancient and modern philosophy. We're on a mission to bring balance, wisdom, and calm to modern life, but we can't do it without your support. Help us grow by sharing these powerful insights with your friends, family, and anyone seeking a path to wisdom and knowledge. Thanks for being part of this journey. When we were born, we brought nothing into this world. No wealth, no titles, no possessions, just ourselves wrapped in potential. And when we leave, we'll take nothing with us. So what's left? Our actions, the mark we leave on others, the lives we touch, the impact we create. Today, let's talk about the only thing that truly matters in the end, the legacy of what we do. Think about this for a second. How often do we get caught up in chasing things that, when we step back, don't really matter? The fancy car with its sleek curves, the designer bag with the logo that screams status, or that coveted corner office with the view we rarely look out at because we're too busy working. Don't get me wrong, success, ambition, and enjoying the fruits of your labor are important. But let's pause for a moment. Picture this. A century from now, someone stumbles across a dusty photograph of you. Do you think they'll wonder, did they drive a luxury SUV or a beat-up sedan? Of course not. What will matter is the story behind that photo, how you lived, loved, and lifted others. Did you make people feel valued, or were you too busy chasing the next big thing? Here's the real kicker. The memories we leave behind won't be tied to the labels on our clothes or the gadgets on our shelves. They'll be tied to the warmth of our smiles, the kindness of our actions, and the impact of our words. So what legacy are you really building? The one parked in your garage, or the one etched in the hearts of those you meet? I'll tell you a story. There was a man named Alfred. He was a chemist and inventor, and one day he read his own obituary in a newspaper. A mistake, of course, but the headline called him the Merchant of Death because he'd invented dynamite. That moment changed him forever. He didn't want to be remembered for destruction, so he rewrote his legacy. That man was Alfred Nobel. Today, his name is synonymous with the Nobel Peace Prize. Imagine if he hadn't had that wake-up call. Now, I don't know about you, but if I accidentally read my obituary tomorrow and it said, spent way too much time binge-watching Netflix, I'd have to rethink a few things too. Can you imagine? Here lies John. He finished 17 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, but didn't quite finish life. So let's get real for a moment. When it's all said and done, how do you truly want to be remembered? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Imagine the conversations people might have about you when you're not in the room. What would you hope they say? That you were kind, generous, someone who lit up the lives of others? Or will it be something less inspiring, like how busy or detached you always seemed? Now let's flip the script. Why wait until it's too late to live the way you want to be remembered? What's holding you back from being that person right now? Is it fear? Procrastination? The belief that you'll have time later? Here's a little secret. The clock's always ticking. Life's too short to get stuck in the grind of someday. The people who leave the deepest marks on this world don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it. So ask yourself, what's one small thing you could do today that reflects the person you want to be? Start there, because those little actions add up to the legacy you're building every single day. Here's the good news. It's not about grand gestures. Often the smallest actions leave the biggest impressions. Smiling at a stranger, calling a friend who's been struggling, standing up for what's right, even when it's inconvenient. These moments matter. I remember meeting a janitor at a local school. He wasn't wealthy, but he made it his mission to inspire the kids. Every morning, he'd greet them with a smile and an encouraging word. Years later, a former student, now a doctor, came back to thank him. not for cleaning the halls, but for making her believe in herself. Imagine that. His legacy wasn't in what he owned, but in the lives he changed. When we're gone, let's be honest. No one's going to stand by our gravesite and talk about the size of our bank accounts or the number of zeros on our paycheck. They won't recount how big our house was or the brands we wore. What they'll remember, what truly lingers, is the time we gave, the kindness we extended, and the way we made them feel valued, seen, and loved. Think about it. Do you remember the exact words someone said to you years ago? Probably not, but you do remember how they made you feel, whether it was warmth, encouragement, or maybe even a sense of belonging in a world that can feel so disconnected. And isn't that what life is really about? Not the things we hoard, but the impact we leave behind. Imagine someone telling their child or grandchild a story about you one day. Not because of what you owned, but because of how you inspired them or changed their life in some small but meaningful way. That's the real treasure, isn't it? The kind of wealth that can't be measured but can be felt for generations. So here's my challenge to you. Think about one thing you can do today to leave a positive mark on someone. Maybe it's reaching out to a family member, volunteering, or simply being fully present with your loved ones. Do it, because every action counts. And here is the promised end reward. The legacy you build today becomes the story they tell tomorrow. Make it a story worth remembering. In the end, it's not the size of your bank account, the number of awards on your shelf, or the followers on your social media that count. It's the small, everyday choices. The times you showed kindness, took risks for what you believed in, and lifted someone up when they were down. That's what people remember. So if life is a journey where we can't take anything with us, why not focus on leaving behind something priceless? Because in the grand story of life, your actions are the only pages that last forever. And hey, if you're really struggling to think of something, start with this video, share it. Who knows, maybe you'll inspire someone to change their life, or at least their Netflix habits. Remember, we came into this world with nothing, and we'll leave with nothing. But in between, we have the chance to create something unforgettable. So, what will you do with the time you've been given?